Welcome to summer in and around Sydney, and we promise you it will be simply sensational when you visit any of the 3 gardens managed by the Royal Botanic Gardens and Domain Trust. Believe it or not, summer is a great time to stop and smell the roses at the Royal Botanic Gardens, Sydney, where many varieties are in bloom. First, let's find out about the history of the garden rose with Professor David Mabberley, Executive Director of the Trust.
The history of the rose is complicated because it essentially means the bringing together of the roses of the West, the cabbage roses from the Eastern Mediterranean region, with the Chinese so-called tea roses. And it's the cross between those that gave us the first hybrid tea rose, which was in 1867, a cultivar, that's to say a cultivated variety called La France. Yes, the rose itself is a double rose, is in fact a mutant. If you look, you can see that the stamens in the middle of the flower have been replaced by petals, and such a thing is referred to as a homoeotic mutant. So when you give your boyfriend or girlfriend a bunch of roses, you're actually giving them a bunch of homoeotic mutants.
You might be wondering what types of roses you'll see at the Royal Botanic Gardens, Sydney. Here's horticulturist Dawson Owen.
When we created this rose garden in 2006, we did a lot of research to try and find the best varieties for Sydney, for our warm, humid coastal conditions here. Most of them are hybrid teas, which are bush rose everyone's familiar with, floribundas. We have some climbing roses and some ground covers, and we also have tea roses, which is an old-fashioned rose that does quite well in Sydney. And probably one of the most distinctive is white iceberg. That's a floribunda, and that's very reliable. What I didn't mention also is we have some Alistair Clark roses, which are Australian bred roses, specifically bred for Australian conditions. There's too many to mention, really. There's a lot. Yeah. Come and visit for yourself.
Roses are bountiful, but there's more to see. The change from spring to summer brings with it many beautiful flowers and plants. Here's horticulturist David Laughlin.
And as we get into summer, we've got a huge range of flowers as well. On the flower bed lawns, we'll have some osteospermum, which are a huge range of different flowers from South Africa. We'll also have frangipanis flowering. We've got a pretty large collection of frangipanis, which have beautiful fragrant flowers in summer. And we'll have a lot of flowering trees around summer as well. And also bromeliads and tropical horticulture, which is behind us here, they flower for a long time throughout the year.
It's not just the flora that's worth seeing in summer. There's also interesting fauna. Here's John Martin, Wildlife Management Officer.
Within the Royal Botanic Garden there is a range of different fauna, a couple of different mammal species, but unfortunately you have to be here at night to see those. So during the day the visitors get to see a lot of different birds. Some of the most interesting birds are the powerful owl, the sulphur-crested cockatoo, and we've got some cormorants breeding behind us here in the main pond.
And for a rare experience, there is a special highlight.
Definitely the powerful owl is the highlight of anyone who's interested in birds. Powerful owls are a really large owl. We're talking standing about 50 centimetres tall with a 1.2 metre wingspan. They're an animal that actually eats brush-tailed possums, ring-tailed possums, things like this, big animals. It's not a bird that you'll commonly see in urban parks. It's more of a forest bird. So it's actually a really rare opportunity to see this really impressive predator in the urban environment.
While the Royal Botanic Garden Sydney is paradise in summer to visit during the day, can you imagine how spectacular it must be surrounded by nature while you see in the new year watching the most famous fireworks in the world? Venue coordinator Ruth Freeman attests it doesn't get any better.
So welcome to one of the best spots in the world on New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve in the garden is probably the most spectacular event that we have here. We have 3 ticketed events here, and the reason that the Trust puts on the ticketed events is to recoup costs to allow public access to our sites on that day as well. So the 3 ticketed events is Lawn with the View, Midnight at the Oasis and Harbour Lights.
And Friends of the Botanic Garden are treated to their own New Year's Eve event.
The Friends and Foundation offer its members a benefit on New Year's Eve, and members can come down and enjoy a picnic as well. So that's actually inside the gardens where people bring their own picnic as well, and they get to enjoy the fireworks and have some champagne in there as well.
Now we're at the Australian Botanic Garden at Mount Annan near Camden. It's a must to explore for Sydney-siders as well as interstate and overseas visitors. On its way to growing all of Australia's 25,000 native plant species, it abounds with life. Here's Director Kaz McCallum.
The Australian Botanic Garden Mount Annan is the largest botanic garden in Australia. In fact, I suspect it's the second largest botanic garden in the Southern Hemisphere. 416.6 hectares, or about 1,200 acres in size. It's large enough for people who, if they want to get away from everything, they can find a quiet place, or if people are really interested in being part of a scene with lots and lots of people, they'd go to Lakeside or the theme garden areas and just enjoy the facilities.
In terms of plants, Horticulture Manager Dan Bishop knows exactly what you should look out for in summer.
Well, we have a range of Australian plants that look fantastic during summer. We have a perennial display here at Mount Annan that showcases beautiful flowering summer annuals like Tylotus and Gomphorenas from Western Australia, but we also have kangaroo paws and other flowering perennials such as Derwentias, Scaevolas and various other plants that showcase the beauty of Australian plants.
A pleasant surprise for a botanic garden is the fact you don't have to just use your legs to get around.
We're a very large botanic garden as well, and we intermingle our woodland areas with grasslands and also botanic displays. So when people travel around the site by vehicle or on foot or on bicycle, they're able to see a range of different display areas that capture the diversity of Australian plants.
Kaz McCallum explains that along the way during your visit, there's a range of creative art pieces to admire.
We have an artist in residence program that's been running for 2 years now, and we've got sculptures here that have been built by our internal staff. We've got sculptures that have been donated by sculptors, and our 2 latest works as well. People really like being able to go for long wandering walks and just have a look not only at the landscape but also the cultural landscape. So we plan for many years to come to add to our sculptural collection, and ideally we will have what we call a sculptural walk one day.
And it's not just the stagnant art to see. You can experience the arts or book in for a short course.
Over the summer season, the biggest event that we've got will be Carols. Lancome have been sponsoring us for some time for this event, but Carols is an event that's just growing every year in the garden. Last year we had 8,800 people come. This year we're thinking maybe 10,000 people. That just gives you an indication of what a great time people have, because they keep coming back each year, bringing their extended families with them.
Looking after our environment and keeping the garden pristine is something all visitors are asked to contribute to.
We have a very healthy wallaroo and swamp wallaby population here, and we also have some eastern grey kangaroos that have recently taken up residence. To retain this natural environment, we want to conserve our animal population as well as our plant populations. So we ask people not to leave their rubbish here, to take it with them, because we don't want our animals to become scavengers. We don't want them to become reliant on the waste that people leave behind. We want to make certain that when people come to the Australian Botanic Garden at Mount Annan, what they see is as close to natural nature as we can manage to keep it.
The Blue Mountains Botanic Garden Mount Tomah is situated on a basalt-capped peak 1,000 metres above sea level and is Australia's highest placed botanic garden. The vista is unbelievable, breathtaking thanks to the Greater Blue Mountains World Heritage Area that surrounds it. And it's the perfect place to visit in summer to escape the heat. Here's Ross Ingram, Acting Curator.
The key feature, I guess, is that we're situated at 1,000 metres above sea level in the middle of the World Heritage Area in the Blue Mountains. It's a volcanic remnant area that supports wonderful growth. So we get lovely, rich, green, lush vegetation and remnant forest, remnant rainforest. It's the cultivated area, so just over 30 hectares. We have an area of remnant rainforest we call the jungle, and that's about 33 hectares. And then we have 189 hectares of wilderness which adjoins the national park.
Do you like carnations? Senior horticulturist Matt Murray says the formal garden is a wonderful feature well worth seeing during the summer months, with carnations and plenty more.
The formal garden's really great in summer. It's particularly blooming from about December all the way through to April, and it's one of the main focuses of the gardens. There's lots of things flowering at the moment, particularly liliums. There's the chamomile too, which is the source of chamomile, the tea. There's lots of grasses which provide structure and colour through the garden. There's always something in bloom, and there's a lot of scented flowers here too. Some of the beautiful carnations are coming into flower too.
Here's Matt's view on the must-sees this season.
The view, of course. We have a 200 kilometre view from the visitor centre deck. That's always great to see. Any day, every day is different. The roses are really nice through summer too, particularly as we're forecast to have a drier, warmer summer than normal, which really brings them to their perfection. And I think to escape the heat of Sydney and the humidity of Sydney, it's always nice up here in summer. So the woodlands are beautiful on a hot summer's day. That would be what I would definitely come up and see.
The unparalleled natural beauty of this garden is supported by fantastic events and activities. Here's Functions and Events Manager Kristen Winder.
Visitors, when they arrive at the garden, have a number of choices to them. The visitor centre itself houses our greater World Heritage Exhibition Centre. So there's some interactive displays down there. There's a short 9-minute film with some stunning Blue Mountains wilderness scenery set to music. Once they're finished in there, we do sometimes have exhibitions up in our exhibition space, or visitors can visit our garden shop or dine in our a la carte restaurant, which again has fantastic views over the wilderness area.
One of the amazing things about the garden is the discovery of the Wollemi pine in 1994 by a local National Parks ranger and identified by trust scientists. It was thought to be extinct before then. The Wollemi was around during dinosaur times 200 million years ago and is one of the rarest trees growing in the wild in the world. During summer, the Wollemi will feature, but there are many more exciting activities and events too.
The Blue Mountains Botanic Garden also offers a program of events throughout summer. It starts on the 1st of December with an exhibition by Fiona Lumsden. The exhibition is called Wollemi Wild Things, and we'll be exhibiting and selling some of the art that she's collected over her travels throughout the Blue Mountains over the years. Fiona will be offering also a workshop where you can learn to draw botanically the way she does. She focuses not just on plants but also on animals that are found out in the area.
And there's a school holiday program too.
Our program also offers Rainforest Rangers, a school holiday activity for children to keep the kids amused while the parents come and enjoy the garden and have a great dining experience here. You can actually enjoy the garden using our program of events for a full day out.
Thank you for visiting our summer YouTube channel. We hope to see you at one or all of our stunning 3 gardens managed by the Royal Botanic Gardens and Domain Trust this season.